If you like what we're doing on this channel, including all this deep dive movie analysis, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the like button on this video. Music is a driving force in Pixar's Coco, and you can especially see this with the main celebrity in this movie, De La Cruz. Miguel as a boy idolizes De La Cruz, as does the rest of this village, and you can assume probably the rest of Mexico and maybe even the rest of the world. Because of De La Cruz's music, he will never be forgotten. And you see this with a lot of other celebrities in the land of the dead, such as the famous artist Frida or the famous wrestler, but that's all on the surface. The real message that Pixar's Coco is trying to tell us about music goes so much deeper than this. Coco is told through the traditional mariachi music, something that is indicative of the culture that this movie is trying to show us. And while that might seem obvious, the film is really about music, connections, and family. In early scenes in this movie, we see Miguel, a really good kid who's not a rule breaker, breaking rules, sneaking off, playing a makeshift guitar, and pretty much doing everything that his family tells him not to do. The only thing his family tells him not to do. Music is just that important to him. And it must have some sort of significance there deep down inside for him to do this. So most of you have probably seen the movie already. If you haven't, spoilers ahead. But Miguel kind of decides that De La Cruz must be his great-great-grandfather, and he's got to go to the land of the dead to go find him and try to reconnect with him through the music that they both love. But what he ends up finding is that De La Cruz is just a fraud. Hector, the skeleton that Miguel initially runs into when he's in the land of the dead, ends up actually being Miguel's real great-great-grandfather, and not only that, but he's the actual original songwriter of all these songs that Miguel just idolizes. And these aren't just songs that Miguel latches onto because of the celebrity of De La Cruz. He's actually latching onto these songs because there's something really deep inside him telling him that this music is important for some reason. Most of you watching can relate to this. There's gotta be some song, some artist, some lyrics somewhere that speak to you on like another level. Like whoever wrote and is singing these songs knows you and they're writing it about you. And that's what Miguel feels about these songs that just so happen to be written and performed originally by his own great-great-grandfather. We come to learn that one of the most famous songs that was actually written by Hector and stolen by De La Cruz was Remember Me. And Remember Me was a song that Hector wrote for his daughter, Coco. And Coco is Miguel's great-grandmother. And she's still living in the land of the living. Okay, so let's refresh a little bit on how this land of the dead thing works. So you die, and your family has to remember you to keep your memory alive, and your memory being alive essentially means that your spirit and your soul is still alive on the other side, the land of the dead. If no one remembers you, however, after a certain amount of time, you begin to fade away. Your memory is no longer living on, and therefore you die the final death. So at this point, Hector is pretty much dissolving, and this is his last chance to be remembered. And Miguel knows that, so he races back to Coco and he's like, okay, Coco, you're gonna have to remember Hector. He doesn't say it like that, though. Instead, what he does is he picks up a guitar, he goes over to his grandmother, and he plays the song Remember Me. And if you don't cry during this scene, then you're a psychopath. Now let's paint a picture of great-grandma Coco. She is ancient. Like, I'm not even gonna try to be nice. She's like the oldest that a person can be. She doesn't talk. She doesn't really do much. She kind of just like is there. Everyone loves her. Everyone remembers her for all the memories that they had with her. Miguel even loves her, even though he hasn't really had too much of a connection with her in the past. But she's his great-grandmother, so of course he does. Miguel is playing his guitar, the first chords of Remember Me, and great-grandma Coco is sitting in a chair, and the rest of the family walks in when they hear music, which is banned in their family. She has her hands on her hips and she's about to say, "Don't play that music or you're grounded for the rest of your life," or something like that. But instead, she doesn't do that, and she lets Miguel play the song to Coco. Because Coco doesn't just enjoy the song that Miguel is playing. The song literally lights up her brain to remember who she is. You see it in her face, you see it in her body language, you see it in her eyes, you can almost see it in her soul, that she remembers her father, and she hasn't remembered him until just now. When I think about music and memories and my identity and how music has shaped me, I think about my parents and the music that they would listen to. I think about Tom Petty and how me and my mom would get ready every single morning before work and school together and listen to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And I also think about my dad, and I think about Paul Simon's Kodachrome and how me and my dad share this really special bond with photography, and how this song is something that we would listen to together and we'd be like, I get this song. The connection between music and memories is really apparent, especially when you think back to your teen years and how you used to go to all those punk rock shows and all the people there were your peers. That's who you were. Scientists have studied music's effect on our brains, and they've actually realized that when music is played, it will light up the hippocampus, which is the memory center of our brains. In Pixar's Coco, we see that music is actually the key to the Rivera family living on. It's the thing that they're going to pass down from generation to generation. It's their legacy, and sure, they'll probably always have the shoemaking business, but music is really what brings the family together in the end. And music is what keeps Hector's memory alive so that he's waiting on the other side when Coco is ready to move on. If you're watching this video around the time that it comes out, Coco is right now available to stream on Netflix, so you should definitely go watch it. If you haven't already seen it, watch it and then rewatch this video and see if you agree. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you haven't already checked it out, we have a Patreon page. So if you want to support the show in more ways than you already are just by watching this video and subscribing to our channel, head over to patreon.com/network1901. See what we got over there to offer to all of our patrons, and see if you want to join. You can join and support us for as little as $1 a month, and $1 goes a long way. It really, really does, and we really appreciate it. And until next time, hurry back.